Hello everyone, it's Amira. Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy you're here. If you're new here, my name is Amira. It is so nice to meet you. I am obsessed with all things Animal Crossing and cozy gaming and Nintendo Switch, and I just really like making videos that kind of feel like you're hanging out with a friend. So if you're in the market for a new cozy gaming buddy, I would absolutely love to do that for you. Just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button and the notifications bell and join our cozy community here on YouTube. We would love to have you here. Today we are building a vacation home for my sweet friend Poppy. She is just the cutest little thing, is she not? I love the coloring of her. I love her little sweet face and smile. I love her dress. She is just so freaking cute. And I feel like she's kind of underrated. She was for me for a very long time. I think I didn't even know she existed until maybe last year. So I have just kind of fallen in love with her. And as you can already kind of see, we are building a magical woodland cottage for her. Not like witchcore, but like magical woodland fairy. And that is because if you have been following along for at least a little bit, you will know that I just started a new island called Moss on my new Nintendo Switch 2. I'm very excited about it. And my goal for that island is to be like magical woodland core, but not in your face. Super subtle, like there's probably magic, but nothing has been confirmed. And when I posted that video last week, I was still like in the development phase of everything. I had so many questions. I hadn't made up my mind on a lot of stuff, and I really just asked for your input on a lot of what I was doing. And so when I went into that video, I had pretty much been set on mostly green and white with some pops of purple. So I was using purple hyacinths, maybe the purple hydrangea bushes, but for the most part everything was going to be green and kind of moody, but not witchy. I didn't want it to be dark. Like, these are good fairies, you know, they're woodland fairies, we love them. And then I had a comment recently on that video that suggested instead of using the purple hyacinths to try the red windflowers because they look like poppies, and then to use Poppy as a villager and kind of base sort of the rest of my scheme around that. And I had to try it. I fell in love with that idea and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, the pops of red just made so much sense to me. And I was kind of worried about the red and the green feeling Christmassy, and that's not what happens here at all. Honestly, it makes a lot of sense, right? Because so many of the mushroom items come in that red colorway, although I don't use that colorway in this build. Mostly it's just brown and white. But yes, I try the red poppies here, and then I use a lot of the green mums. And having Poppy as the villager, I knew I needed to get this done and just like see it for my own eyes. So a lot of this build is pretty much taken from what I just did on my island Moss, but just kind of I wanted to be able to play around with it, and it's so much easier to do on Happy Home Paradise than it is on your own island. So the whole build with like the arch in the back corner there, that is something that I did on my other island. And I picked this lot specifically because I wanted it to look like they lived in a forest. And then I put the arch there with the sign to kind of make it look like this is how you go into the forest, is through this arch. And this build is chock full of items, you guys. It took me probably around 3 hours. The interior and the exterior are both done, and it is full. I go heavy on the pathwork. I'm actually so proud of where the pathwork ends up on this. It like winds around. There's spots of grass. I really, really like it. And then I have these little pockets of different items and clusters. So within the exterior, there are kind of like 3 or 4 main sections. So you have the home, you have the arch leading back to the forest. There's a well. There's like a little mush table with some like pumpkin soup on there. Like, there's an outdoor seating dining area kind of thing. There's a little laundry spot that I put. And then also there is a little campfire that I put like little instruments around. And I kind of wanted it to feel like that's where all the woodland fairies gather to sing their campfire songs. I don't know. It felt like really sweet and cute in my head. But the whole thing is so full. There is wheatfield galore, which if you know me, you will know that I am absolutely obsessed with wheatfield. That should come as no surprise to any of you. I put weeds, I put bushes, mush items, it is so full, and I am so happy with the way it turned out. And I think I might use what this person said, and I might go back to my own island and start using the red windflowers, because I really love the way that they play off of the green mums and all of the green. I really like that. Something that I wish you could do in Happy Home Paradise is, I know you can change the seasons, but you can't adjust like the time of year. So like if I choose fall, it will automatically put me into the fall in the game where all of the trees are orange and brown. And I love the early fall, like September-ish, where the green starts to get a little bit more muted and lighter, but you still have those really beautiful fall weeds. That's what I really wanted to do here, and that's what this commenter suggested doing too, but you can't do that here. You only get your 4 like basic. Same with spring in this game too. In Happy Home Paradise, if you want it to be spring, it is set during cherry blossom season, which is really upsetting to me because I really like spring, but I don't want it to be cherry blossom season all the time. So that's just a gripe that I have. And you know what? I actually shouldn't be complaining because this is probably the last Happy Home Paradise build you'll see from me for a while, simply because all of these Happy Home Paradise builds are done on my Switch OLED. That is where my Forever Island is. That is where all of my progress is. If you play this DLC, you will know that you unlock furniture and decorations and all of that when you unlock them in the game. And then, you know, when you choose a client to decorate for, sometimes that'll unlock specific things for you too. All of this goes to say I have so many items unlocked on this Switch. And I will be giving this Switch to my little sister for her birthday. On the day that I'm recording this, it's her birthday, and I'm going to go up and see my family. And I decided to give this to her just because I have 3 Switches at this point in time, and nobody needs that many Switches. And since I just got my Nintendo Switch 2, pretty much all of my saves are going to be over there now. And so I probably won't touch the Switch very often. I also have the Animal Crossing like special edition Nintendo Switch, and I know that that one is not like technically as nice as the OLED, but just for like novelty reasons, I felt as though I wanted to keep that one. So we'll be kind of saying goodbye to the Happy Home Paradise speed builds for a while because I'll be starting over on all of that, and I don't know if I'll have an island that I save for as long as I save this island. The island that's on the Switch is the first one that I ever completed. Its name is Honeywood. There is a full tour of it. It's my first video on this channel, but just like be warned, the audio is not good. It's my first video that I ever did, so have some grace for me if you decide to go and watch it. But I do really, really love this island. It has such a special place in my heart, and I'm kind of sad to be saying goodbye, but I know that my sister will really appreciate it. And I think, I don't know, again, 3 Switches is kind of insane. So I'm also kind of crossing my fingers that when they release a new Animal Crossing game, whenever that is, we will also get an Animal Crossing special edition Nintendo Switch 2. And so I know I'm going to want that, and I'm going to buy that. So I'm kind of making room for that already, even though we don't even have a game confirmed yet. Anyways, back to the build. You're kind of seeing me sort of lay out the different areas now. So this is where I come up with that idea for the mush table. I knew I wanted to use the pumpkin soup because I feel like the food items that are in that pumpkin soup, it just looks so fairy. You know what I mean? Like if they would be eating their soup out of a pumpkin, that makes so much sense to me. Why wouldn't they be doing that? Even looking at it now, it's so cute. I love the pops of red. That commenter you ate with the red windflowers, it is so good, because something that I was concerned about with using the purple hyacinths was it was going to lean more witchy, and I know purple is often associated with Halloween, and like it just, all of the purple and green really felt very witchy to me. And then the villagers that kind of fell into that color scheme felt witchy to me too, versus I feel like if we use the reds, it's much softer and friendlier. You know what I mean? I don't want you to feel like a bad person lives here, just like a woodland fairy, a forest nymph, something along those lines. Something you'll see me mess with a lot during the course of this build is the time of day and the lighting and the weather, and that's because I really wanted it to be set during this golden hour time, but for whatever reason, I kind of find it hard to build in. I'm not really sure why. I think part of it is just like there's this orange sort of filter that goes across everything, and my eyes can't like distinguish what it looks like for some reason. I'm not sure. That might be my own problem, and I need to go get my eyes checked, but I do find it hard to build during this time of day. So randomly I'll go like make it earlier, and I don't like the way that looks. I feel like the earlier times when like the sky is super blue and it's very sunny, that doesn't do this build justice. It needs that like warm golden purple sky. But again, I find it hard to build during that time of day. And then also I would set it for that time period, and then it would just like slowly get darker and darker and darker, and then I would have to like rewind and bring it back to this time period. So don't worry, like at the end, everything is set during golden hour, but I just felt like I needed to explain why I kept changing the time of day. And it's just like, it's hard for me to build. I don't know. Does anybody else experience that? Like, I really like when dream addresses are set during this time of day, but actually building during golden hour, I just feel like my eyes can't handle it. It kind of hurts my brain. And again, that might be my own problem. I'm unsure why. You are slowly going to start to see me sort of put together this idea for like my little musical fire gathering thing that happens here. And that's because while I was scrolling through items, I saw like the little musical instruments, and I never used those, like the pan flute and the ocarina and the tambourine and all of those. I use the ukulele sometimes, but I never use the other ones. And I saw those and I was like, fairies? would use these. These are fairy instruments. Are you kidding? And I haven't shared this on this video, but in my build for the island that this sort of build is inspired by, Moss, I explained that the whole premise was inspired by the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And if you haven't read that, it is a fantasy series, lots of fairies and magic and all of that good stuff. But the main character goes to a location called Wendelin in one of the books. And a large portion of that book is located in this magical forest where she's doing her training, because fairies need to train for their, powers and all of that. And I think it's been a little bit since I've read those books, but I'm pretty sure I remember the forest isn't like, there's not like purple and pink fairies flying around with their sparkly wands and their wings. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a forest that has magic in the earth. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of where I drew inspiration from for this whole thing. Anyway, the main character at one point talks about her love for music and how fairies in this world have these like ancient historical songs that they sing in specific times that are in like a lost language, the Fae language. And so like, for example, she loses some people who are pretty close to her, and she'll go to their like burial sites and sing these ancient songs. And that's what I was thinking of when I put out these musical instruments. They kind of start taking place in the bottom right hand corner there. You see I have like the ukulele there to like remind myself, put the music in this corner. Musical fairy time. So that's kind of what I was thinking, that they would sit around a campfire and sing their ancient fairy songs. You know the ones that I'm talking about, right? The ancient fairy music. You know what I'm talking about. I know you do. So there's my idea there. And I think it's really cute. I personally am a big music lover. I love music so much. It has always been a really big part of my life. And so when I get to incorporate that in builds, sometimes it makes me happy. I also would just like to draw your attention to the way that the pathwork is done here. I cannot tell you how proud I am for what I did with the pathing here. I don't know if I've ever actually said this, I hate using custom codes as pathing. I hate it so much. I don't think it's ugly. I think it's beautiful. I just think it's so hard, and it takes so much trial and error and patience. And I'm more inclined to kind of play around with it in Happy Home Paradise just because it's so much easier to use. But on my own island, it is so hard to find like a combination and like a pattern and a configuration that works. And I always just kind of end up using the same like two sort of, patterns, not like same custom codes, but I use them and I kind of configure them in the same way, even on Happy Home Paradise, just because it's not something that I feel like I'm very good at. I have such a hard time like visualizing it and seeing how I want it to go. And I'm always so in awe when I see islands and builds where people do this like incredible path work, and it's just so hard for me. I'm not really sure why. I'm pretty confident in my abilities to decorate and to use items and to lay out items and to build that way, but using custom codes is something that I really, really struggle with. And I think part of it is just it overwhelms me, the amount of codes that there are out there. Even if I'm like code shopping on Pinterest, there's so many options, and I'm like, oh, this one is cute, but I know if I keep scrolling, I'm going to find something cuter, and that just kind of, I think, overstimulates me. And so picking them is overstimulating and overwhelming, and then using them is a whole other skill. So anyway, just the fact that it like winds around that table and chairs, and I use it in like a few different spots, and like it's not just a path to get you from point A to point B. That's like huge for me, and I don't know if you knew that. So I just wanted to let you know I am very proud in the way that I used pathwork in this build. I also want to say that I think this build ends up turning out a lot more magical mystical forest than I would like my island moss to be. I just figured, since I was doing a build in Happy Home Paradise, like why not go for, do the whole 9 yards. Is that what the phrase is? The whole 9 yards? The whole 10 yards? I'm not sure. I just kind of wanted to go for it because it's fun, and I didn't, I don't think it'll be as on the nose on my own island, but I love the coloring. Again, those red windflowers are so good. I'm so thankful to that commenter. They look so pretty with the green mums. And then all the weeds. I tried using the glowing moss weeds, but I have a hard time using those, honestly. I don't like the way they look when they're like fully grown. But I thought it might be nice to have them because, when you like run over them, they get all glittery and sparkly, and it kind of leads you to believe that the earth has magic in it. But I think the way they look is kind of ugly, and I just wish they looked a little bit different. So I don't use those. The whole like glowing moss collection of items I struggle to use a lot, which is unfortunate because I think the concept is cool. to be quite honest, I feel like a lot of those items are kind of ugly. So I'm sorry if you really, really like them. Anyways, you'll kind of start to see my like different sections come to life now. So you have the well in the bottom left, and then you have the little musical campfire corner, and you have the laundry in the upper right. Oh, something else I really would have loved to use here, and I think the same commenter, I believe, suggested using gyroids, and oh my gosh, genius. Again, like gyroids, because they're like so intertwined with Animal Crossing lore, if you see them, you don't automatically think magic. You know what I mean? Like that's part of Animal Crossing. There are gyroids all over the place, but using them in like an enchanted forest island, I feel like really helps. And it's not as on the nose as like using a gnome would be. That commenter really got me. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing. But unfortunately on this Switch, I have literally only one gyroid unlocked, and he was really ugly. So I did not use him, and I'm sorry for that. But just know in the future, on my own island, gyroids I think will definitely be used. I'll just have to make a few Treasure Island runs to get some unlocked. Now I'll start putting out some critters. So I use bunnies, and I put like 3 of them in a little row, and I believe I end up changing them back to brown, but I don't remember. I can never decide if I like the brown ones or the black and white ones better, but I feel like with the sort of golden hour time that we choose, the brown ones look better, and I just like their little family. Look at them. I love them so much. Alrighty, anyways, we are coming up on the last like 2 minutes of the exterior build, so I will kind of let you finish watching me place finishing touches. It's a lot of me kind of trying to decide if I'm okay with some empty space or if I really want it to be completely full. And I believe the consensus is like it is 90% full. I end up using like different paths that I have and random little items here and there, but for the most part I would say there's like maybe 10% of the grass that you can see. But yeah, I'll let you finish watching that, and then I will see you once again when we are inside. Alrighty, we are moving inside now, and like I said before, this is a remodel, so we are starting with like kind of a blank slate, but not really. There was like the old wallpaper and flooring from the previous build for Poppy, so if that confused you, just know that this is not like a fresh new build. We're just rehoming her for a home that suits her better, although I really did like the cozy little craft room that I made for her. I'll actually like insert a little picture of it here because I think the cozy craft room was really, really cute, and I was kind of sad to get rid of it, but I just felt like I really wanted to practice what I was going to do on Moss here with her, so I think it'll be okay, and you know, I can always redo that craft room another time. Anyways, the inspiration for this home, I really wanted it to feel, again, Woodland Fairy, but if you haven't watched the island tour that I posted, like my most recent island tour that I posted on Sunday, it was of a very simple, like almost minimal farming village kind of, and surprisingly, there were a couple homes that randomly had these little pops of cottagecore here and there, and so there was a home, I don't remember whose it was, I think it was one of the resident reps. You walked inside and it had all of this wood paneling and like mush items in it, and this specific like kitchen set, and it looked like a little fairy home, and I saw that and I said, this is what the homes should look like on my island Moss. And so I wanted to kind of replicate that here as well, so I did the same sort of wallpaper that they used in that same kitchen. I wanted it to feel very small because fairies are itsy bitsy, and I used Luna's bed, which I never used, but that just seemed very fantasy to me. Like you would find that in like a fantasy like inn, you know, with like the one bed trope, you know what I'm talking about? That I feel like is where you would see a bed like that. And so I used that. I put lots of plants all over the place. I loved using the dried florals because it kind of reminded me of like dried, stuff you might use for like a potion or spells or something like that. All of the wood furniture. I didn't want anything to feel super like furniture-y, you know what I mean? So I think at one point I do try to use an actual like dresser or side table, and I end up going back to like the log stool because I wanted it to feel very natural and like she almost lived in a tree or something like that, because any sort of like real furniture just felt too out of place here. So again, lots of wood items, lots of natural items, and the whole place just feels like so magical. I really, really like the way that it ended up. You'll see it kind of go through a few different sort of transformations. I really kind of struggled to fill out the bottom half, like towards us, essentially like where Poppy is. That part is always hard for me when I'm building because I want it to feel like a real home, and like, you would have furniture on all of the walls, but I also don't want to block anything. And when you're taking pictures, it's not like The Sims, where in The Sims, if you place something on that wall, if you cut it to like a half wall's like camera viewpoint, all of that stuff kind of disappears. So you can just like look into the home. And Animal Crossing doesn't do that. Like the walls disappear, but the items are still there. I kind of wish they would go away so that when we're taking pictures, you can see everything. Same thing, like if we were to kind of go to the back of the room, if I wanted to take pictures of the front, that giant kitchen set would be there, and there would be like a big wall and the plant and the bed and all of that. And it would be really nice, I think, if the furniture kind of disappeared when you were at different angles so that you could see everything. But beggars can't be choosers, and I didn't create this game. I just play it a lot. So that's kind of where I struggle when I build interiors, because I want to be able to take pictures and not have things get in the way. Anyways, I don't know if anybody else feels that same sort of gripe, but that's what I have. I use the little mush wreath. I feel like that works out really, really well. Like she goes out and forages. I also put like the little bucket because, again, foraging, I feel like you would go out and forage for all your ingredients and materials, and I wanted that to be there. I loved using the mush stools around this like wood table that felt very fairycore and like woodland to me. The whole thing is just so quaint and cozy, and I feel like it smells like wood almost, but like it smells like herbs, maybe like sage. Ooh, yeah, I bet it smells like sage and lavender, and like essential oils, I feel like is what it smells like in here. So we are kind of, I think, coming up on the end of this build in general. The interior comes together very quickly for me, much faster than the exterior of the build came together for me. That took me so long, but the interior, I knew kind of exactly what I wanted going into it. So in the fact that it's just smaller, I think it just came together like pretty quickly. I end up throwing around some socks, and I put like the leaf stool out there in front of the bed. And that's pretty much where this build sort of ends up. So with all of that being said, I think it is time to do a little real-time walkthrough of everything we built together today. So here is our final little fairy cottage cabin. I think this turned out so cute. Some things that you just didn't get to see at the very end of the build. I added the little flimsy net, and I added the little dropped socks, and then the stone stool with the mushes on it, I think looks so cute. The little needlepoint art on the wall back there. I think this whole thing just feels so fairy-like. The only thing it's missing, I think, is like a fireplace, but I feel like the kitchen sort of encompasses all of that for us. I love the vibe. It feels so warm. I feel like you can hear a fire crackling. I love the little kitchen. It just is so quaint. I feel like a hobbit would live here. It's like everything in fantasy that I love so much. So I'm super proud of that, and I hope you like that too. And then moving to the exterior, we have this like first little look at the home itself and all of the surroundings. I think this looks so pretty, especially at this time of day. I'm actually so proud of this build, you guys. It took me forever. And actually, like, once it was done, my husband was like, this island is gonna take you so long to build. And he is absolutely right. It will, because the amount of clutter and like back and forth that I did, it was kind of crazy. But the time of day and the green and the red and all of that, it just comes together and blends so beautifully. And I love seeing all the trees in the background. I'm really happy with the plot of land that I chose, and then with like the archway leading back into the forest. I'm so happy with this. And actually, I don't think I said this, but this is the same sort of customization that I chose to do for my resident rep's home over on that island. So honestly, I'll probably end up recreating something very similar to this over on that island. Again, I know I say this in almost every single one of my Happy Home Paradise builds, but I love this DLC for this specific reason. I knew I had like kind of a direction I wanted to go in for my island, and then I got to come here and just kind of play around with it. And someone suggested red windflowers, and so I got to play around with that. So I really, really like it for that purpose. If you don't want to actually decorate for people or follow the little prompts that they do, I feel like if it's just to kind of mess around with the possibility of an idea, it's just so much easier to do that here. Like I said, with the pathing, it's so much easier to work with pathing over here and moving items around. It's just so much less of a process. So I highly, highly, highly recommend, if there's anything that you're kind of toying with the idea around with, try it on Happy Home Paradise. And you can either really, really like fall in love with it like I did today, or you might decide like, nope, I'm glad I tried it out, because restarting and doing a whole island and then figuring out that you hate it later, that would really, really stink. So those are my thoughts on Happy Home Paradise. I hope you really enjoy what this build turned out, because I know I keep saying this, I can't get over it. I think it is so, so cute. So with that being said, let's start saying our goodbyes. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. I put new videos out 3 days a week. I do builds on my own islands. I was doing Happy Home Paradise speed builds, but I think we'll kind of say goodbye to those for a little bit. And then I also do island tours. So you'll get some sort of combination of those 3 times a week. I know I've mentioned this a couple times now, but starting within the next couple of weeks, I will start live streaming, probably over on Twitch to start. So I'll have my Twitch channel linked down below, so you can make sure you're following me there. The best place to kind of keep track of any updates will be over on my Discord server, so that will also be linked down below. That's where I'll kind of keep everyone updated on when streams will be starting and all of that. I'll be out of town for the next few days, and I know my computer will be getting here while I'm out of town, so I need some time to kind of get that all set up. I will probably look into doing some sort of a practice stream, and I'll let you know about all of that. So if you want to be a part of that, then you can come in, and I'll probably ask you if you can hear me and what the game audio looks like and sounds like and all of that. So again, the Discord server is the place where I tend to kind of keep everybody updated. So if you're not joined over there, I highly suggest that. I would like to quickly thank all of the members on this channel. Thank you all so much for being a part of this channel and supporting me. I just will never be able to thank you enough. I have so much love for you. There's such a large place in my heart for you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am eternally grateful. I love you all so, 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 so much. Other than that, you guys, that is all I have for you today. I hope you are all having the most wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video. Goodbye.